All right. Welcome to another episode of Contrarians of the Cosmos. It is now our second episode of the new year, and it seems like there's already a lot to say. I think we've got a lot on our minds. It's been a very pensive New Year's for us. So before we get going, Tyson, how you doing there, kid?
I'm good. Dude, it's just like the first episode when we did it on New Year's Day. It's also a time for celebration on today's episode because after 2 years since 2021, Alec Baldwin has finally been indicted for manslaughter.
What? No, for the gun thing on the set of that movie?
Yep. So the case was actually cold, but then the grand jury came back and re-indicted him.
Like what? They didn't know who did it?
No, he got off free, but then the jury re-indicted him, so now he's back. And I hope he gets fucking destroyed in prison, dude. I can't wait for that.
What? I won't go into why. Okay. Do you feel like through the American judicial system, Alec Baldwin should be found guilty of manslaughter, or do you just not like Alec Baldwin?
Both.
Real quick.
I knew that was coming.
Is this that guy that accidentally killed someone on set because the gun was loaded?
Yes. And we'll get back to that in a second. Before we do, you spoke up. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm actually feeling somewhat optimistic. I've been cooking lately for a video in the future. I don't know.
Are we going to get a cooking video?
No, not literally cooking.
Because I watched you cook scrambled eggs.
I'm pulling from the Zoomer lexicon right now. Let me cook. Though you also did witness me cooking scrambled eggs, and I will stand by the fact that
it was horrific.
That was not cooking, my friend. I don't know what that was.
I will feed you this slop in person.
Okay.
And you will enjoy it.
That's fair enough. Before we
keep... like a Lovecraftian event to witness, you know?
Yeah. No, but I've been
very it was a gore body horror, food horror.
I've been
Roth
cooking
presents Ari cooks.
I've been cooking my first psychological breakdown / hit piece on a certain topic that we will
on your co-hosts.
Sure,
Why Tyson and Kid Moyer are bad, actually.
How did you see my roadmap?
I did. Well, you need one roadmap to work out in what you're working on these days.
That would actually be pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like just a full episode where all three of us do like college level dissertations against each other.
On each other.
Wait, what was that thing? What was that thing from a few years ago when Trump was still president? That document that everyone was hyping up.
The Steele document.
The Steele dossier. Yeah, the Mueller. We're gonna do a Mueller full investigation on each other. So the problem is that Tyson and I would reach an impasse immediately on each other, and then just focus on you. So that.
Yeah,
I love the amount of scamming that's gone on just between the three people recording this podcast right now, which is amazing.
At least when we scam, we do it spiritually, though. We're not physically scamming.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we're down one man anyway, so...
Who scammed us?
Collectively.
Yeah, seriously. So, but... we'll let that one go for now. So more to come, right? But while we're doing a little bit of housekeeping, I just wanted to say we do have a movie review coming because we forced Tyson to sit down and watch the Mario movie, and I was interested in seeing what his thoughts were because I hated it. So that movie will come out eventually, or that review will come out eventually, and it's actually one of my most favorite things we've ever recorded. So when that pops up, give it a listen. It should be scheduled at some point. My real estate market video is still floating out there, but I don't think it's the time to release that just yet. We'll wait till there's some downtime, and we'll treat you guys to that. But yeah, we got a lot going on, and we're having fun. So it's been a good New Year so far. But before we get moving,
real quick,
okay,
and I believe we are back on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Oh yeah. Guys, by the way, I put us back on Spotify and Apple Music. We'll put the links in the description below after the video. So check those out. And if you want to listen to us on Spotify, give that a shot.
Also, I'm trying to figure out a better way to say this besides every episode, but we do have another channel called The Scary Door where we just talk about purely the paranormal, which is my favorite. So always be sure to check in on that. I'm trying to figure out a way to best publicize that channel and get it moving, but we're on it. All right. We're busy guys. We're busy guys for you and each other. So before we get moving on some subjects, and Tyson has some interesting ones he wants to get into. And I don't think we'll do it this episode, Tyson, but we do have to talk about the ongoing primaries, the Iowa polling, New Hampshire, maybe dip our toes into politics, what's going on with the GOP race, because you and I like talking about that one.
I had some sauce for that one, but I wasn't sure if this was the episode we're going to get into it for.
We'll let that one go. Maybe we'll do a separate video. I don't know. Maybe just do like a election battle series, and see how our minds can meld into that one. But I have a question for you two, and it's less of a question, more of a situation, an experiment, we'll say. And I might be asking the wrong two people, but it's about etiquette. And there's a situation that popped into my head while I was in the car that I haven't got over. It happened to me about, we'll say around 6 or 7 years ago at this point. And some say I live in the past, which is true. But when there's opportunities to, retain bitterness and be angry at people and how situations have turned out, I'll jump on it. So something happened to me 5 or 6 years ago, right? And I'd like to know what you guys think about this situation. So you're dating someone, okay? You've been dating for around a year. Things aren't phenomenal, but they're not terrible. And she's going over to her friend's house that night. Her friend is some bald project manager or loser guy with a beard. And, he's just got a house somewhere with his girlfriend. And they have a dumb dog, okay? So it's the guy, his wife, their dumb dog. And then you go over there with your girlfriend. She brings her dumb dog. Right? So you're all hanging out in this main area, making dull conversation about Lord knows whatever normal people were talking about at that time.
This is very specific.
Oh, it's as specific as it gets. And these two dogs are fighting with each other like idiots. One of them's a pit bull. I think they're both pit bulls. Who knows?
Like serious fighting or play fighting?
They're play fighting right around you, and everyone thinks it's kind of funny. They're like, oh, look at these dogs play fighting. Thankfully it distracts from the dull conversation. But these dogs, and you have no time to react, bump into you, right? The dogs are fighting. They bump into you while you're sitting down. You're holding a glass of red wine that the host gave to you. The host offered you a glass of red wine, gave it to you. And while you were holding it, the dogs were playing next to you, and they bump into your leg, and you spill some of the wine on the ground. Okay. So, it's a mistake. It wasn't really avoidable, and it wouldn't have happened if the dogs didn't bump into you. So you spill a little bit onto this carpet. It's not even a white carpet. It's just like a dark color carpet. And the host, the guy who invited you over and gave you the wine, comes up to you and hands you, the guest, a paper towel and just stares at you and waits for you to clean it up off the ground. Huh? Do you think that it's your responsibility to clean up that stain that's on the carpet?
The fuck?
So I'll just say I don't think my opinion is going to inform what your guys' opinion is. I think you already have what you think about it. But I'll just say I thought about this story the other day. This happened to me, and I really want to crack that guy's across the fucking skull with my bare hands, because I think that's fucking ridiculous that he did that. It really pissed me off. I was thinking about it in the car. I was like, wait, why did that guy, Josh, just hand me a paper towel and look at me to clean up a stain that happened on the ground in his own house with his wine, from his own dumb fucking dog and my dumb girlfriend's dog at the time?
Hold on, Moore, did you do it?
I did do it. I did, because I didn't want to. I didn't want to cause any. Look,
no,
I didn't want to blow anything up. I didn't want to make anyone socially uncomfortable. I just went and did it, and I thought I must have been beaten into submission at the time, but I kind of forgot about it. But it popped back into my head when I was driving the other day, and I said, you know what? I should have popped him in the fucking face and said, you clean it up yourself, and then just left and not even dealt with the situation, because I don't think that you should have to force your guests to clean up when they accidentally spill something. It's your house, right? It's your house.
Not even that.
I'll
just say
this
this
is
right.
some, like,
If you invite someone as your guest for your event, you're kind of accepting the responsibility that something bad might happen. So it's your fucking responsibility. It's your umbrella. It's your event. So why would you make someone else do it? That's just disgustingly rude.
Actually, wait. That's a good point, because imagine if you had a party and someone dropped some popcorn on the ground. You wake up the next day, might be an empty bottle of wine out, and there's some popcorn on the ground. You call that friend and say, "Hey, you dropped some popcorn on the ground here. You should come and clean it up because you dropped that popcorn." So
there are some expectations. There are some expectations, and you should be taking responsibility for that if you're going to host. What I was going to say is this is some real like Nordic social. Like social etiquette and autism. Like, do you remember?
I like that angle.
Do you remember? There was that thing like in Norway or something,
where they don't get invited to dinner when they come over someone's house, right? Well, and then the family goes and eats dinner in the other room.
That plus, that was it. It was trending on Twitter, and people were talking about how, like, the family will leave you upstairs. They'll be having dinner on their own, and if you do, come down and eat dinner with them, they'll charge you for it. And the other thing I was going to say is, what you should have done is, in all cases, pit bulls need to be put down. So, I mean, who caused the issues here? It wasn't the host. It wasn't you. It was the dog. And the fact that it was a pit bull just makes it worse. So, you should have taken that towel and, like, fucking wringed its neck.
It's like when someone puts a pillow over someone's head and puts them down. Well, there's a good chance that dog's fucking dead by now, which it should be. It was probably going to kill someone. I remember I had to kick it one time because it was growling at me. So I was like, am I about to be a pit bull victim here? But I don't want to have my Kanye West moment. But you know that clip where he's quiet for a second, and then he says, guess what the doctor was? A Jewish doctor. That's what I want to say at the end of this story, because guess what the host was? A Jewish host. So maybe that has something to do with it, right? So
that makes sense. Like, they're the only ones that would be neurotic enough to make people do that, even if they're guests, right? Imagine, Larry David in Curb Your Enthusiasm is upset about something happening, and he's just like, well, maybe you should just, because you're the one who dropped it. That's like the kind of situation that I'm running into.
I mean, do they care about stains too much? Because, I mean, I heard they don't really take much care of their mattresses and just leave stains on there.
My dude should be worried about the stain on his mattress, not the one on his floor. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, look. Tyson he could have really set me off and countered me on this one, but I think we all can come together and say that guy was a prick for making me clean that up. And when I thought about it 6 or 7 years later, I was right to still be bitter in some sense.
What'd you expect from a bald guy, right?
I mean...
Yeah, exactly. He's bald, he's Jewish, he's got a dumb dog. Yeah, there's a lot of things.
Next time you should... If that ever happens to you again, you should just go, like, make me. Like, make me clean up. What are you gonna do?
But I'll never forget his stupid fucking face just staring at me, holding the paper towel in his hands, and I was a bit perplexed for a second. And there's something demeaning about it. Like, look what you did. Like, clean up your mess in my house, And I'm like, what? Like, wow, that's crazy. So, but needless to say, it didn't work out with that girl.
One thing I like about Moira, and I see it in myself as well, is that we're both really pro holding grudges. So... I
will never let any... I talked about it with one of my friends before. Someone that I hadn't talked to in 10 or 15 years, I'll have gotten over the things that they've done to me in my life and, like, kind of grow as a person, but then give it about 3 more years on top of that. I'm like, you know what? Never mind. Fuck them. Fuck that person. I'm not over at this thing that they did 15 years ago. So I was like, you know what? Because if they were I wasn't that annoying 10, 15 years ago. I don't care if they grew as a person. I wasn't I wasn't an annoying person then who was screwing people over, but they were. And now they're fine. Now they're in the clear and I'm not. So, whatever.
Also, can we admit that revenge feels fucking good? Like, it feels fantastic once you get one up on someone. So, I'm for that.
Okay. Are we going to tell revenge stories now? Because I've got one. I've got a juicy one.
Absolutely. What you got?
You guys go first. Mine's
I was just gonna say I don't seek revenge. My best form of revenge is shutting people out of my life, because chances are they'll need something from me later, whether it's just my presence in general. It could be money. It could be job opportunities, something. And they won't have my help because of some random thing they did 15 years ago. And that feels good. That feels good. I like doing that. So maybe that makes me a bad person, but it makes me a person, right? So what were you going to say?
So I'm going to preface this by saying the person that did this, me from the past, me not being that person anymore is why I try to not hold grudges, because I really wouldn't want someone to judge me based off of these actions that I took. And this is going to be the first time either of you have ever heard this story as well. So
live on air, okay.
I'm quite curious to what you're going to think. So in my late teens, first relationship, whatever, went on for about 3 years. Okay, it was messy, really fucking bad. Typical, like, you know how it goes, right? Late
rite of passage at that age,
right?
for
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah,
I'm a man now because of that. Near the end, she cheated on me, and I went. Something went off in my head. The true schizo in me. Something switched. It just flipped in my head. All right. So I said to her, all right, because she said some ridiculous things as well. I'm not going to get into those details, but I said, all right, I'll talk to you later today, all right? I just need to think. Never talked to her again for 3 years, and what I immediately did after that was... So, throughout the relationship, she was deeply insecure about her childhood best friend taking me away from her.
Okay.
And I mean, their mothers were like best friends, so they've basically known each other since they were born. And like, she would go apeshit over this friend. Like, she would accuse her of like trying to get with me and sending me nudes or whatever the fuck, right? A whole shebang. You know, the typical crazy type of behavior, right?
Sure.
And well, I did. I was the best friend. And then no, it gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse. I didn't leave her that. I sent a picture of it to her.
Yo!
Let's fucking go.
And then, but it was like more cryptic than that, because they know each other really well, and I know that she would recognize her body because there's some like distinct birthmarks or whatever, right? So I was
sent her some picture with like your arm around her, like some arm
no,
candy
it was
or something,
worse.
like
It was
covering
worse
her
than
pussy.
that. It was worse than that.
Okay.
It was a picture of me laying on her bed.
Let's go.
and anyway, I mean, that wasn't the end of it though. I just said that, no comment. And then from her other friend, I got the pictures of her doing these promiscuous activities with the affair partners, let's call them. There were two of them actually. And then I also had evidence of her doing various drugs, and I sent that to her whole family.
Oh my gosh!
Damn.
Oh, dude. Okay. Well, I was
going for the fucking jugular on this one. Holy shit!
Yeah, seriously, you must have felt
then,
jilted.
Oh yeah, and then I this was an accident, but I accidentally faked my own death. I basically socially fell off the face of the earth and dropped all of my mutual friends as well. And for a good 3 years.
Okay, she might be getting back into the W column over you if you went
no, because within those 3 years, her and the mutual friends were like, it was really depressing actually. They'd like text me like I was dead or something, wish me happy birthday, and like send me memories and stuff. And then when
bring it home.
Well, we accidentally bumped into each other again, and then she was like, "Oh my god, where were you?" And she like kind of broke down and everything, and I just said, "Oh, sorry, I had a really long shower, that's why I didn't text you."
Okay.
And they were like, she was like, "Can we talk or something? Like, please." And I just said no, and then walked away.
Wow. After doing all of that, so I felt
really bad about that. That's when this is what I said. Like I reformed as a person, and a year later, I did actually.
At least you developed a conscience about it.
There is something to say about balance in revenge. You know, you want to hit them back where it hurts, but not go over too much. You know,
because then you're showing that you care so much, and you're not winning anymore at that point.
Here's the thing.
You know, when you're being overly vindictive.
I should also mention this was not a healthy relationship at all. Like,
No, it certainly doesn't sound like it. But also, you were.
I'll tell you one of the lowest points of it. Second year in, I was in a, because I am a schizo. I was in a psych ward, and she was tormenting me, and like telling me that like my delusions are true, stuff that I'm horrible and this.
That's
and that.
messed up.
That was a fuck, because I was medicated as well. By the way, like when I don't know if you know, but if they put you in a psych ward, they like in the UK have something called like a sectioning thing or something, and they'll hold you down and inject you with benzodiazepine. So yeah, it was just a really low point, and they just kind of put salt in the wound. So there was a lot of things that had me bitter, and like a lot of pent up rage that I held on to.
Average British relationship.
Sure.
When he started telling the story, he said, yeah, she accused me of cheating, or she did cheat on me. When you started talking about that, I just imagine, like British people fighting. It's just funny. Like, you went and did this, like, and you cheat me. You had a shag, mate, like, or something.
All right.
He shagged me outside the fucking chippy.
I didn't have a proper wank from me last, like, I don't know. That's you fighting with your girlfriend. But then they cry while they're doing it. You didn't say it. She told me, like, I don't know.
I
like
didn't.
Oliver
I
Twist
didn't. I didn't.
or something.
What are you talking about?
A
You
light
fucking
switch went
cheat
off
on
in
me,
my
you
head,
fucking
dude.
whore.
How the fuck did you do this to me? You
Proper
fucking
slag, like. No, actually, it's funny. I did something revenge related in a relationship that I didn't like how it ended as well when I was younger, but there could definitely be some ramifications for, exposing that information. So we'll let that one
Hold on,
go.
I think I have the cleanest and most balanced revenge story out of all three of us. Now that having heard both of you guys. So when I was in primary school, which is I guess elementary school for Americans.
We're going way back.
Yeah. So I was a new kid in school, just moved to New Zealand, and I was bullied a little bit for like the first 2 years. And at the end of the second year, this is one fucking kid that went really hard. And one day I just got up, I picked up my chair and swung it at his fucking head. And that was
swung it at his fucking head.
That's a W. That's a W. Let's go.
Yep. Clean, and he didn't fuck with me after that, so...
You WWE'd that
him.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Seriously. What Tyson did sounds realer than anything in WWE. That's real life right there. What
You seen
kind
that
of chair-
video of like hypnosis in WWE?
I don't think so. But I was just going to ask, what kind of chair was it? Was it like one of those school ones where it's, metal on the
So
posts
plastic
of
top
it,
and metal
plastic?
legs.
Yo, it's an actual wrestling chair. Let's go. Oh wait. Do you mean like it wasn't?
No, he didn't mean
foldable?
no. If it wasn't
okay,
a folding chair, that means it probably did more damage then.
Oh yeah.
Trust me, I made sure the metal bit was the one that hit his head. So
How bad did you fuck him up?
he didn't come to school for a week after that. So
Some of you are right. Don't go to school next week. Tyson will clock you in the head with a chair. That's amazing.
Did you get in trouble for it?
Sorry, I wanted to hear what kind of chair it was. What is, very briefly, what is the wrestling hypnotization?
Oh,
What is-
it's some. Some old WWE thing. They're wrestling, and then the guy does puts his hands together and does the whole Wrigley thing. And then he like a shaman, with a snake and all that. He starts doing that, and then
with his hands,
the person he was wrestling with starts going into a daze and pretending to be hypnotized, and and then the commentators are like, he's using hypnosis. He's using.
Unfortunately, it's obligatory, and I must say something every time it comes up. I hooked up with a WWE star, and I will not say her name, and don't say what's his name. It was definitely a woman, verified, but just wanted to cap it off with that. So thank you, for sharing that story of revenge and lust and deceit, and
The closest I ever came to getting with someone of social significance, let's say, was it was
me in New York.
Sure, yeah, after you.
I had you drunk in my car. I could have done anything I wanted.
No, it was a girl. It was a girl. She was a bassist from a band I will not say, but they were notable enough that they played at Reading, so that was kind of cool.
Okay. I think
then
I know
later
exactly who you're talking about, but that's okay. We'll let it go.
No.
No, no, not because you told me a story, but because I think I could guess. But that's okay.
Really?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
it's interesting.
We'll talk
and then
about it later.
she went off the rails, and then she started on OnlyFans, and then we lost contact.
Really? Okay. Wow.
Not
Sounds
the first
like some
time
other people.
one of your past loves, started on OnlyFans, right, Ari?
Okay. All right. Let's let that one go. So I thank you for
I just realized what it sounds like. Now I'm not going to hear the end of this.
Listen, let's just say that life is cyclical and your life is very cyclical, we'll say, with the things you do and people you surround yourself with. But that's all right. We love you all the same. So for your own sake, let me get as far away from this one as possible for you. And we'll get Tyson going on some of his topics that he's been interested in. Anytime. My office door is always open. So Tyson, it looks like you have this subject, and this could be anything really. It could be about emotions. It could be about physical feeling, but I'm seeing a subject called hypersensitivity. What is that? What do you want to talk about here?
So I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I for the longest time I felt that, I hate using this term, but normies, they kind of see the world differently than, and I hate distinguishing myself in this manner, but they see the world differently than people like me or you see the world, right? And I could never put my finger as to what the substantial difference was. And then I saw this video on Twitter a few days ago, and I think I cracked it. I think I cracked what it is that substantiates us from them.
Okay.
So the video was this guy, and he was recording this other guy in a restaurant, and the caption was, "A bruh got stood up on his date, laughing emoji."
I saw this video. Go ahead. Our feeds are identical, by the way, Tyson, which is so funny. But go ahead. Yeah.
And that got me usually angry. It's like, dude, do normal people really fucking do this? Are they really that brainless that they have nothing better to fucking do than record Snapchats of people being stood up on dates? And I realized,
that's horrible.
Dude,
yeah, that is
NPCs. The difference that substantiates us from them is that they are hypersensitive to people around them. I would think back to times when I was with all of my normie friends. We'd walk down a street, and then they would say, they would say out of nowhere, "Damn, that girl's really hot." And then I would scan the environment like, what fucking girl? And then they would point to one a fucking mile away and say, "Oh, you're her with the red dress and the Vans." And I'm like, how did you even fucking see her? What's wrong with you? And then I think to myself, that's weird that they all have this trait. And then I realized, when I'm walking down the street, I'm in my head a lot, right?
The ground shakes.
I'm thinking about lots of different things. Like if I'm walking down the street bored and I see a pavement and I'm really fucking bored, maybe I'll think about, what about the history of the roads? And I'm not trying to brag and say that I'm really smart, because sometimes I imagine or think about the most retarded things, what if fucking ninjas popped out of the sewer and I'd defend myself and all that stuff, just I'm in my head constantly. And I realize, normies, they aren't really like that. Their heads are fucking empty, so they have to resort to scanning the environment to provide themselves with entertainment.
I disagree with you, Tyson. I think who were the? Okay. I think they conflate sadism with a sense of moral superiority or righteousness at the very least. So in the case of the guy Snapchatting the other, that's just straight up sadistic, right? But with the other thing you were talking about, I find that normies really love to feel good. How do I put it? They have these fantasies in their mind that they play out, whether or not they happened. But they place themselves in a position where they are deemed morally righteous or superior to another person, and they will act as if that is the case. So a prime example of this, and I saw this on Reddit recently, some guy was going off about, during COVID, his father, he had cancer, some kind of throat cancer, and because of that he couldn't wear a mask. And everywhere he went, his father would get completely and utterly shit on, despite having a valid excuse. And no one wanted to hear it. And it wasn't a one-off thing. Everywhere he went, he got shit. And it was a diverse enough amount of people that like he concluded that the everyday person is just like a narcissistic, self-centered piece of shit. And they, within themselves, they like to think that like they're the complete opposite of that, and they'll project that on the world.
It doesn't really explain the other example that I brought up though, like
which one?
how they'll spot a hot girl from fucking ages away, and I only see this pattern of behavior when I'm with like the normies, and when I speak with someone that actually is interesting and has genuine thoughts. I've never seen them do something like that. So how do you guys explain that?
That one I can't quite explain, but I think I can kind of dig at the heart of what you might be trying to say, Tyson, is that, first off, normie is now I hate to be redundant, but it's a normalized word now. A lot of people outside of the typical niche online sphere know what it means to be a normie, or it's not one that's easily defined, but it's one that's used now. So it's a word that's used now. But I think kind of what you're trying to say is that people who could be perceived as normies, maybe products of the world around them, they don't have a lot, or you would think they don't have a lot going on in their heads from an introspective level. So when you don't have anything to recede into yourself, you look to the world around you.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So exactly.
That is neurotypical behavior, though.
So what I'm saying is that they tend to take these things, project it onto the world around them, and become further products of the world. And then us, or you yourself, people who could maybe classify themselves as a little more, outside of the normal social sphere. Sir, I guess that's the word that we're allowed. We can use their words too, right? So maybe people who are a little more divergent or are more introspective, thinking things outside of the world around them. And it's something also that I think I have my own version of this. I love being alone. I love being alone with my own thoughts. I love being alone to do my own things. I enjoy, but to me, I take it too far. I think it's to the point where it's a little bit unhealthy. Maybe I should go hang out with my friends. Maybe I should go and go to this social event. It probably would be good for me, but I take it a little bit too far. But people who are normal, okay, we'll say normies, they get bored when they're alone. They need to go do things. They need to go out and drink during the day. I can't relate to that, but that's the way they are, because they need to be more part of the world around. And one more thing, because you remind me of it. And I've brought up this book probably every 5 episodes of this show. If you haven't read it, one of our co-hosts recommended it to me, Rain. It's called Culture of Narcissism. And it talks about how with the advent of and this book was written in the 70s. It's very prescient for today. With the advent of the, consumer grade camera and reality TV, which then was more game shows and sitcoms, people act as though if they feel like they are on camera all the time now. If there's no camera in the room and no one else there, you still pretend that you're in your own movie, because that's the product of the world you're in now. And that's kind of like, that's kind of the fallout of the advent of being able to basically record what's going on around us. So that's just a tangential point, but that's why that can explain why people kind of act the way they do in certain situations, and more normal type people, as you'd say.
First of all, I fully agree, right? But I just want to add on to that. I feel like the biggest signifier of all this is the fact that in the West, if you're seen in a restaurant by yourself, that's somehow like a social faux pas. Like people would laugh at that for some weird fucking reason if you go to a restaurant and eat by yourself.
Which blows my mind. Which is
mostly
true.
It's mostly true. If I go to a place and I want to eat something nice, I'm having a good time. I'm like thinking about some different things. I'm maybe looking at my phone a little bit. I refuse to believe like people are so upset and so scared of eating by themselves that they would just project that onto other people. It's such a bizarre thing to witness.
And I noticed when I was, just real quick, I noticed on top of that, when I was in London, a little bit Paris, elsewhere, mostly London, there actually weren't a lot of bars in the way there is in America. Obviously, they're pubs, but like there weren't a lot of bar seats. There were more tables than bar seats, because I think it's more normal for people to just sit at a table by themselves and eat there. You know what I mean? As opposed to America, where there's a bunch of bar room, because it's really only normal to sit at a bar alone and not at a table. But that's completely anecdotal and might not be true. But what were you going to say,
So the thing you were talking about earlier about how, to say neurotypical people, feel the need to actively do something. It's ironic because as a collective, it kind of just turns out to be them being quite autonomous, because they're all kind of just doing the same thing en masse. And fuck, what was it?
It's really hard though, because then you'll start to get into the mindset like that classic comic strip where it's like, look at all these automatons, you know, droning through life, and it's all the same thought bubble for everyone on the subway. You got to be careful not to get into that, line
two
of thinking
things.
too.
So for one, I think maybe they feel repulsion in someone eating alone, because that is non-conformative to their kind of autonomous worldview.
Or they can't stomach being alone themselves. So when they see someone doing it, it's like, oh, God, well, he must be a huge loser because I would never be eating alone. I have lay friends, I don't know.
All that. And the other thing is, like you talk about having a camera on the main character syndrome. It's ironic because, once again, they more or less blend into the background, but they would never think about themselves. So it's just, I think it just comes down to consciousness. They're not really conscious people. They're not human beings, really. They're
agreed.
And I'm not trying to place too much importance on myself, or maybe we should try not to do that. But I will just say there are people who enjoy going to work, maybe having a drink, going home to their girlfriend that they may or may not be dating, or their wife, watching Netflix. They think Elon Musk is like cool and funny. They're agnostic. They don't really believe in organized religion, but think something is out there, and they're not overly interested in politics, but might cast a vote in the next election season. Normies are out there. They're out there. They plan their next vacation. Like it is a real phenomenon. There is a difference between, let's just say, introspective online people that are having some of the conversations we do, and very normal people that are kind of products of the world around them. And you know what? They're probably happier than we are. So I don't even know. That's the worst part of it all, right? That's the worst part of it all. I'm just being honest.
It's just interesting where they draw the trigger lines for like what they consider weird or a social faux pas, right? Like, for example, if you were driving past a suburb where all the fences were white, but then you drove past a fence that was yellow, for example, would you give that a second thought 5 minutes after you drive past the suburb? You wouldn't, right? The same reason for like why it's so hard for me to understand why, you see a whole restaurant of people eating together, then you see one guy by himself eating a meal, that sets off your trigger, like that alerts you to some reason. That's so fucking weird,
And I really don't want to get too meta-contextual about what we're talking about, because there's different layers of the type of person we're trying to describe, but there's also a huge issue with the modern day quote-unquote people watcher, someone who sits around and they feel their own superiority by just watching other people do things. It makes them feel like they're above situations. I have people like this in my own life where, a lot of their personality revolves around looking at and judging others. I'm sorry, but if you're doing that, you're just a pathetic person yourself, and you can't reflect on yourself. So you look at other people to try and feel better. And I hate that. And that's a big thing normal people do, actually. And I try not to. But.
So not to dive too deep into religion again, but do you think breaking the autonomy is kind of like an act of dedication to God in a way? Because, like, let's say you've got the commandments, right? And in actively pursuing those against, let's say neurotypical people, well, for the most part, they don't really commit to God, do they? So like committing to God, for example, would be like an act against that, and maybe that's why it's difficult, if that makes sense. Like it's a big deal. It means
you're not committing to the world around you, right?
Sure, and it would also explain why so many people are going to hell. I'm just reading from the scripture.
Hey, moving on. No, hey, listen. You want to shoot from the hip? Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
There you go.
Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So that means, kind of thinking through spiritual, religious will and not conforming to the world around you. Something to think about. But I didn't know that you were going to get religious, but someone shared that verse with me today. So maybe there's a reason for that. So there you go. But, all right. Well,
just neurodivergent
Tyson,
things.
What's the commandment? Thou shalt not take pictures with your ex-girlfriend's best friend to use them as a vindictive revenge fantasy.
Thou shalt clean up the wine spill on the carpet.
That's it. That is in the Talmud. I guarantee
thou
you, if you
shalt
looked in the
slay
Talmud,
the pit bull.
Yes. Yeah, well, they have all kinds of stuff about, Lord knows, like transmutating sin to chickens and then killing the chickens. I'm sure there's something about wine and pit bulls and cleaning them up. And,
that fat bald Jew that handed you the paper towel. If he did that to Jesus, Jesus would clean up this wine spill as well. So
I'm sure they would tell me. I'm sure they would tell me that he would, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm sure they would love to say that. And you know what else? Just to cap that part back, because I'm still not over it. He's one of those guys that really liked the most recent Star Wars trilogy too, and you just know you're dealing with an insufferable idiot at that point. So,
really?
But
I've never met one of those people before.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that just likes everything that they put out. He's like, I thought it was really good. Whatever. I don't want to get talked about that guy. I'll just get mad all over again.
Do you reckon he scrubs his soap on his head, like in the shower? He's like, squeaky, squeaky.
I guarantee you, he was. What's the Reddit you guys will talk about sometimes, like r/bald.
Am I the asshole?
No, it's in like r/bald, and it's just a bunch of bald guys being like, I grew out my facial hair or something. I don't know. But, I don't want to say too much about that.
Can we talk about facial hair real quick? Clean shaven is the way forward.
We're leaving facial hair behind. In 2024.
Please.
Because you need to have a face that's thin enough to not need facial hair. The only reason you have facial hair is maybe because you have a face that's too big, or you're doing some weird colonial lamb chop thing that Tyson does for some reason. So
it can look cool, but it's when I don't mind it. It's only when they're like, oh, you're not a man if you don't have facial hair. I'm like, okay, fat bald boomer, show me your fucking face, you fat cunt.
He does the strap that goes from the side of your head down below your chin to the other side of your head, but with no mustache. It's just like a halo around your face.
Guess what? I do have a mustache now. I do have a mustache now.
Okay,
so.
all right.
Let's go.
So now that I have a
you
mustache, I will
Tyson,
be
you could
trimming
really
it to
pull
a
off a
small
Genghis Khan
fuzz.
thing.
What's that?
No, I was gonna say you could really pull off like the Mongol thing.
Did they have long
tell him
beards?
the Mongol mask all the time.
You need to Mongol max, dude. I'm telling you, it'd be so fucking sick if you did that.
You never see anonymous, annoying trad Twitter saying that you need to Mongol max. It's something that
I'll start doing the throat singing and that fucking weird guitar.
That would be amazing. We could do it as an intro to this channel or something. That would be awesome. So I want to get something off my. I got to get this off my chest a little bit too. So we actually haven't been able to record. Maybe pushed it back a few days because I've been sick 3 times since the winter season started. So I was sick over Christmas with an average cold, and then New Year's Day, as I said in the last episode, I threw up so badly that my nose was bleeding, and then just this week. I got sick again with congestion. My nose is just congested. I have a stuffy nose. That hasn't happened to me for like the last 7 or 8 years. So I'm really starting to think that there's an airborne bacteria, possibly implied engineered virus that's being pushed around now, which is now which is normal place. They prepped us for this through COVID. And
Disease X?
Well, yes, and I've seen some articles about Disease X. I just wanted to say, not only have I never been this consistently sick in my entire life, I'm a generally healthy person, but most people in my life, they haven't been sick this often either, not even during peak COVID. I think there's something really strange going on, and our collective bodies are being experimented on through some sort of conditioning through these virus mutations that are just released into the air.
Have you seen that there's been a spike
I'm
in
going to call my family
cases
back
of
in Wuhan
cancer?
and tell them it was a mission success. Give me a sec.
Yeah, we're now sufficiently
Move to stage
paranoid.
So have you seen?
Yes,
I think it was the World Health Organization or some other fucking thing. Projections on cases of cancer in young people are set to go to the moon this year.
To the moon.
To the moon,
Crypto,
yeah.
no.
Something's fucking
Ser-
mooning, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Really makes you think.
You know, Ari, you talked about how there might be a second round of herpes 3.0.
I think we can
this-
say COVID now. We talk about Jews, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, okay. But you said there might be COVID 2.0.
Oh, I didn't know that was a euphemism for COVID, herpes 3.0. That's funny. Okay, sorry. I was like, herpes 3.0. What? Ari's doing another revenge arc with his ex-girlfriend? Sorry. Go ahead.
No, but I thought about it more. You know, I actually would like to see them try that, because I still don't believe that enough time has passed to where people will accept it. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they really will just believe and just lie down like they did 3 years ago. You know, it would be sick to see that.
You know what the game plan is? Dude, they want... Obviously, depopulation is part of the end goal, but they do also want high birth rates in third worlders, right? So there's enough third worlders coming in that they'll make enough babies that will have retards for generations. But all the good, smart, like assimilated people that are one with the culture, they're all going to die off one by one. So
This episode.
where was I going with this?
More, I don't want to
I
hear a
don't know.
single word from you ever again about me being fed posty, alright?
Whoa, listen, all I can say is, all right, I don't quite agree with intentional depopulation. I definitely agree with social conditioning, for sure. Go ahead, if you remember.
I just remembered. Yeah. I think this next disease will actually be brutal. Unlike COVID, which... I mean, for some people it was pretty bad. I'm not going to deny that. For some people, COVID was bad.
What was someone going around Africa?
I'm sorry, my
people?
immune system mogs yours.
Ebola.
Yeah, so they were giving Ebola a shot. They're saying, okay, that's a little too violent, too high of a kill rate. COVID kind of was hitting their lower end sweet spot. So now they need one that kind of combines all the great things about Ebola and COVID together, and then they'll have like a beautiful virus that, will make a very pliable population, right? To listen to what they're saying. And just kind of what you were saying a few moments ago, Tyson, I will tell you with certainty, at least where I'm living, people cannot wait to put their masks on again. They can. There'll be a warning to say, "Hey, increased risk for transmission of common cold," or maybe even a latent COVID warning. The next day, you'll see everyone with their masks on everywhere, public transportation, in their cars.
That's bizarre to me, because I've spoken to a lot of people in New Zealand, and they say, "Yeah, if there's another lockdown, I'm just not doing that." Like, you
guys were such fucking loser pussies during COVID. I don't believe that at all. You guys had like internment camps and everything.
It's for that reason that we went so hard that they're not willing to go through that again.
I don't believe you guys are going to do the haka right into your COVID internment camps again. That's what you're gonna do.
We can scream and shout about this all day, but here's the real shit and here's the real scoop. All right.
Okay.
So what stocks pumped? What stocks pumped during lockdown? Well, we've got like tech stocks, toilet paper stock. No. Well, what in particular? What pumped this time around?
Netflix pumped up a lot.
All right,
entertainment.
Give me the answer, Ari.
Well, I mean, I was gonna get at you remember the little mini riots, your local supermarket over toilet paper and stuff like that?
Yes, and I also couldn't find paper towels for quite a long time.
Well, this is your chance to become a scalper, the very person you hate. But this time, you're selling to the people you hate as well. So
Since when did this turn into my scammer call to action conversation? what part of this like perverted hero's journey am I on right now? So I don't understand that the WHO is conspiring to make me a toilet paper criminal. What where are you trying to go? I don't get it. What's your?
Sounded dumb at the start,
if
but now that Ari said
PS5
that,
is okay, then what's wrong with toilet paper?
Now that Ari think about that, what Ari's saying, it does sound pretty fucking sick. Like, I remember I told you about this boomer who fucking like had a freak out and tried to make me put my mask on when I was at this convenience store. I would love to look at that fucking boomer when he's trying to buy toilet paper for me, and I want to say back to him, yeah, that's just $50 for that roll of toilet paper. I would love to say that too.
Not vindictive at all.
Yeah.
Listen, maybe I'll help get you back on track here. I'll signpost you a little bit. I have a good friend I'm very close with that told me that COVID and the vaccine was Babby's first mark of the beast, which I totally agree with. So whatever happened during that time period was preparation for something far worse, where we'll have to be far more obedient towards, and you'll see a bigger fallout from it than COVID. And whether there's some, positive market action for some companies because of that, yeah, we'll probably be privy to that again as well. But I do think that something worse is coming, and I think because of COVID, there's just going to be continual bacterial experimentation on the populace forever without us knowing.
This year is going to be insane. If we get a lockdown, then we're gonna. I know I'm gonna sound crazy for this, but before I say that point, I'm gonna say there'll probably be a Trump. I have a feeling there's gonna be a Trump assassination attempt in some form.
Really,
dude, I'm down with that. Yeah, I can totally see that happening. And amidst all of that chaos, I can see an alien scare as well. And I know I mentioned that before. But no, I think the lockdown, the Disease X scare, I think the Trump assassination, I think that's all going to happen at the same time, and that's really going to, it's going to completely and utterly destroy the morale of
fucking alien attack lockdown.
And they can't buy toilet paper; they have to get it from me.
You're a smart guy and you make really good disparate points, but it's the connecting them all together where I really want to help move you along, because I'm trying to see the vision with you, because I do appreciate it, but then you just have to sprinkle in some QAnon like Trump. When will the Patriots wake up the Trump
he was making some cogent points, but then eventually it devolved into, he's just basically describing XCOM 2.
Where you got me confused. I'm not Spider-Man, I'm Venom.
There we go. That actually does help clear things up. I appreciate that. So, but what I will say, the Trump assassination is the fun, and they're going to go after Trump, and then the Epstein list, and then, oh god, he had to go in that direction with it, but whatever. So we'll definitely be hearing more about him in the coming months, but I'm glad I just got that off my chest after the virus. And maybe we'll do a separate episode about it. I don't know. We'll see. The sky's the limit for us, right? So we're tailing towards the end here. So I got to talk about the Jewish man making me clean up his wine, which I'm angry about all over again now. And Tyson talked about hypersensitivity, and then
wouldn't be the first time an American had to clean up after them.
It's good. Listen, I'm just glad we can talk about this stuff in the open now. All right, we don't have to be underground in tunnels, afraid to talk about this kind of stuff.
You know what?
Right?
You can thank Mr. Kanye West for that. So you welcome.
I really can. I really can. Late Registration's his best album, but
and we can hide behind the plausible deniability of our label, Contrarians of the Cosmos.
Yes, I was merely being a contrarian anti-Semite. I was an anti-Semite for contrarian reasons. So, okay. The last subject here, just because I can't let this one slide by. I can't let Tyson get away with this, and we'll make it quick. I see a topic called, I don't even want to say it. You know what, Tyson? You bring this one in.
So it's a scenario that I've come across a couple years ago, and when I brought it up as to how I would respond to the scenario, it made a lot of fucking people angry back then. So I just remembered it recently, and I want to get your guys' take on it, right? So
okay, another etiquette exercise. Okay.
Imagine, if you will, you're working at a company, and there's a company fridge where you put all your food in for lunch. You know for a fact that this guy is stealing your lunch. So and he's done it so many times that one day you make a sandwich and you put cum into the sandwich, and then he eats that. Are you ethically wrong for doing that? I think the guy is perfectly justified. You know,
I know what you're referring to. I saw it. So it's so fucking funny. Holy shit.
What are you guys' thoughts on the cum sandwich?
Do you think that's all right?
Someone's stealing my food. I mean, I wouldn't actually nut in it. So the video Tyson's referring to is like some guy had like a fucking used condom put in a sandwich, and like he's filming the guy eating it, and he took a bite into it, and then like he pulled it out and he started like puking everywhere.
I mean, that is like kind of a gross, needlessly sexual thing to do to get back at someone, and honestly, it's kind of gay coded. It's giving gay, to be honest with you.
I think there's a lot better you can do.
Bro, you just ate my, what? That's not revenge, that's just gay, my dude, but whatever.
What I'd do is I'd get gel capsules, and then I'd fill them with fart spray, so when he bites into it, he gets a good mouthful of poop. Yeah,
or just put an egg in it, maybe, or,
What?
raw salmon. I don't know. Or what's
Raw
something
salmon
like
that
really,
would enhance the sandwich. What the
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be
eggs, raw
good.
salmon,
Sorry.
what are you
I can't
talking
even
about?
think of gross things, right? Yeah, where's my mind going? Like, cook a nice raw, or cook a nice, like, fried
stealing
egg
more
and put it in
sandwiches.
there. So, yeah, and making them better. So,
It's like
yeah,
some guy who doesn't know the existence of sushi. He's like, ha, I'm going to put rice and raw fish on top of that. So let's see how he likes
Now,
that.
now I see why you cleaned up the wine.
No, but
Listen.
just for the record, I'm fully for the cum sandwich. Fuck that guy, dude. So,
Oh yeah. Dude, who does that? What the fuck?
I find pleasure in being confrontational, so I wouldn't do something slyly like that. I would like to directly converse with them and get to use expletives, maybe potentially hit them. You know, that's how I would rather like to handle something like that.
that is the perfect vessel for you to do that without getting in trouble.
Exactly. You could do both.
Yeah, I guess it would force the confrontation when he had to do that, maybe. But it's just hard for me to. It's hard for me to give a scenario because I couldn't imagine that being the first thing I think to do. It's like, oh, he's eating my sandwich. Time to masturbate. Like, I don't know. It's something about it. There's something about it doesn't sit right with me, you know. So, but okay. Do I believe that you should be able to strike back at that person? Yes, obviously, of course. But like that. That's just one step too far.
I mean, if you
Not
want
even
to take
too
it
far,
really
just
far,
straight.
you could drug him.
All right, well, put it this way, Tyson. I'll just reframe it for you. What do you think would be an appropriate thing to do, or what would you like to personally do to someone who is stealing your sandwich at work?
If I could somehow infuse laxatives, that'd be pretty sick. Honestly, the condom
Make
one.
them
if it's
American.
if it's a clean condom, that's probably like really good, you know?
Tyson, it was
Imagine just like
unrolled
some
and it
guy
had
eating
white stuff in
eating
it.
a condom in a sandwich and he discovers that. Like, that would be so fucking funny, you know?
That's what because I saw what you're talking about, and that's what I thought it was. I didn't know it was one that he, did something to. Yeah. Speaking of sandwiches, lately I've been having, toast. I don't know. It's not even a sandwich, really. Do they have this in the UK? Toast with mustard on it and then sardines. Is that normal over there? Yeah, that's a thing. And I've been doing that lately. It's really good. So.
I don't know. I really don't know.
All I'm saying is look into that. Every time I bring up sardines, people have to be a child about it too. They're like, oh, girl, it's like
Sardines
you're a
are great.
fucking 12-year-old, like you really are. So
Sardines
whatever.
are great. I like sardines.
It's like and then they'll just turn around and eat ketchup like a child and be like, oh, sardines are so gross. Like you're literally a 10-year-old. You still use ketchup. So sorry.
More if you like sardines, you would probably love the fried anchovies that we have in Asia. They're really nice.
I would love that.
I
That sounds
love
really good. I love
anchovies on
anchovy
pizza.
Yep, that's
Let's
exactly
go.
what I was gonna say. I love anchovies on pizza. I have a buddy trying to get me into the mackerel game. So there's
That's
lots
good
of-
too. Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing some work on that. But I think we're good. This is I've had a lot of fun. There's a lot of more. This is a moral quandary episode.
Very interesting.
Yes, yeah, especially when we didn't even dive into the ethics of what I did in this previous relationship, and I hope we never do with mine. And
I am not
Tyson,
that
I
person
don't wanna
anymore.
know. Sure.
I was
well,
young,
I think
stupid, and on drugs.
we have no choice but to believe you. So now you're just now you're just
No,
older,
I'm just
not
stupid
young.
now.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was getting at. So, Tyson, you got anything to wrap up? Anything to say goodbye to?
No,
Good?
I'm good. Just gonna go buy some towels in case some bald guy comes up to me next time.
Yeah, go buy some towels in bulk. How about you, I?
There is a mountain in Alaska where there is a secret alien base, and the leading the person leading the remote viewing program, the CIA, remote viewed the mountain without their permission, and he got visited by men in black.
I think I just got bingo. I think I just got my Ori bingo card on that one. All right. Much appreciated. We'll have to dig into that sometime. And with finality, this is Kim Moyer telling you, I will not clean up the wine. Have a nice night, everyone.